Years ago, in the late 30s, there was. You remember all those stage shows, where
Right.
you go in and pay hardly anything, and you could watch a couple of movies, and then in the intermission, the band would come up out of the pit and they'd play a few tunes. Well, this next tune is a song that Dad made popular. He recorded it. It's his arrangement of the Wang Wang Blues.
Great.
How about that one? 1, 2.
Wang Wang Blues. And I believe there was another Wang Wang Blues. That was another big blues thing that Dad did. I think it's one of the things that started him off in the band business. What was it, the Wabash Blues?
Yeah.
Oh, that was...
They had the Wabash Blues, the Limehouse Blues, Wang Wang Blues.
Yeah.
There were a ton of them.
But I think the Wang Wang Blues was one of the biggest. I know I was talking to Freddie Martin not too long ago, and he said, gosh, when Russ was with the band, I tried to get every way in the world to record that with the band. But Russ didn't want to do it.
He had other plans.
Right, a band of his own, and do it of his own, where he would have complete control of the thing,
Right.
So that's why. Now tell me this, and answer this once and for all, and we can confirm it or deny it, whether the story ever took place. But back in the old days, with the big band era, and especially with guys like Joe Venuti, Wing Manone, and you had to have a sense of humor.
It helped.
But as the story goes, Jack, that Russ and Joe Venuti and Wing Manone had made the town one night, and they all went up into their room, and this was when Wingy, had the arm, the artificial arm.
Right.
Well, as the story goes, they had a few good ones that night, and went up to the room, sat around and talked, and Wingy got sleepy that night, and went to sleep. And while he's asleep, now nobody knows for sure whether it was Russ or Joe Venuti, but somebody called up from downstairs, and said, "Hey, send me up a saw and a glass of water and some ice." And so while Wingy was sleeping, they sawed off his artificial arm. And when Wingy woke, they sawed off his artificial arm, and sat around and waited until Wingy woke up. And when he did, and seen what happened, instead of getting mad, he thought he was hilarious.
Yeah, well...
Is that story true?
I have got to admit, it sounds right. But I never heard this. But when you were talking about that, I do know, because I was old enough, and it was right here. It was, I don't want to mention the man's name because I'm sure there's a lot of people who still remember him, but he was a very famous movie producer. And he had a handicap. He had to walk with a corrective shoe and everything else because one leg was longer than the other. And Dad told him, they fixed up some kind of a brew, and they said, "Man, if you keep drinking this stuff, it'll really help. Because he was born with, an infliction of some kind, but this will really help your leg. So it was blackstrap molasses and, I don't know what else, but it was really a scene, and they've actually got him to drink this stuff every day for weeks and weeks and weeks. And then finally, they used to sneak into his dressing room at the stage in the movie theater. They'd take his cane and they'd saw off a little bit of it every day. Just a little bit, So pretty soon, the cane kept getting shorter, and he thought he was getting taller. And that's the truth. And when the guy found out, he almost killed Ed.
Are those days gone in the band business? Things like that were happening all the time back in that era. But
yeah, I tried to do them, but when I do them, I start fights and everything because they don't dig the sense of humor.
While we're off the air, I'll find out from the musicians what do they think of their leader.
Oh, yes, good. Avoid the rush. Find out now.
Okay, let's put the band back to work now. And what are you going to play for us?
Well, I think it would be a good idea. We have to honor some of the folks that we have in the Midwest. We have an occasion almost every night to do a polka.
Okay.
And a good, legit polka. And I want you to hear, again, as I mentioned before, it's been so long since we've been able to find a bass man. Young guys coming up today, if they can play bass and play bass well, that's good. But to find a guy that can do bass and tuba both is unbelievable. So we did find a guy. He's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Matt Morse. He's from London, Ohio.
London, Ohio.
It's kind of like a little west of Columbus.
Right.
Right there off the interstate. And he does a great job, and we want to feature him on this Beer Barrel Polka.
Okay, great.
1, 2, 2, 2. That's the end of the romance hour.
Right. We're really putting Eddie Julian, your drummer there, to work.
You bet.
He's been with you a long time, hasn't he?
He has, and I'll tell you, it's...
he was before Russ Morgan.
Pardon?
He was there.
He worked with Dad. Was it Chicago, Ed?
Yeah.
Oh, and then also in Canada? Did you go up to... Dad did a Canadian tour back in the early 50s, and Eddie went up there with him also. But Eddie is Vaughn Monroe's.
Right.
Vaughn had the big band. Eddie was his man.
Yeah, way back in, let's see, 1890, I believe.
Yeah, he shot the cannon in the,
the 1812 overture.
That was the Boer War.
Yeah, right. Okay, all you polka fans, we heard Bill Barrel Polka. You're going to be playing that tonight for all the Yeah. When you go out on the gig, do you have to feel the audience out to which way to go?
Yeah, as I said,
focus,
no matter where you go, you have to find out what they like. And of course, I've been on the road so long now that I know the areas. When you're in the Midwest in Iowa and Nebraska, you got to stay with those good old, just they want foxtrots, they want waltzes, they want an occasional little Viennese tempo, and that's it. And if you start laying a lot of Latin and all that kind of stuff, you've lost them. They're dead.
Yeah, it seems like certain areas have certain music that they like. You better provide.
You can go down to Texas now and you can play Latin all night, and they love it. California, and this is the thing that blows my mind, is that California has more good ballroom dancers. I'm talking about the legitimate people. I'm not, you go into the Midwest, and those folks, they're farmers, they're hardworking people, they're out in the fields all day, and they use the dances for social, get-togethers and talking to each guy to see what he did in his farm and how the land's doing and what the weather's going to be like, and they mix a lot. They want to do a lot of mixing type dances. But out here, I mean, you find people. There are so many people that belong to the Smooth Dancers of America and the international ballroom style of dancing and everything else. And this is what I can't understand, that there's hardly any place that can stay open. The Golden West, remember that place out here in Norwalk? Dad and I were out there we were on location in 63, 4, and 5.
Right.
And now it's a church.
Yeah.
So I know I can't get back in there now.
No way. If they was to see you and your piano player walk up, they'd bar the door. Close the door.
That's for sure.
Okay, let's put the band to work now. What have you got you going to hit with us with now?
We have a medley, and there's another kicker medley that we use at the end of each evening, and it starts off with a great standard called Oh Babe.
Oh Babe.
You remember that one?
Oh, yes.
You're just saying that.
No, I remember that one.
All right, here we go.
Even though it wasn't my time, but I remember it.
1, 2. forgot what I was going to play.
Jack Morgan and his big band. Okay, you got me on that one. What was happening?
What was that? the song?
Yeah.
Caravan.
Caravan.
Yeah. That's an oldie.
Oh, yeah, an oldie but goodie, right.
We just don't hardly play anything but them, you know. There's not too many strangers in this library.
Okay, Jack, you think that the the dance bands, not the big bands per se, but the dance bands are going to stage a comeback and they're going to take their rightful place back again, or?
I hope so. I think it's going to take a real cleaning up of our profession and an educating of the people again. Really.
Okay. Now we got time for about one more number, then we want to go right into your theme song.
Okay.
And close out. So make it one of the best things of all time from Russ Morgan.
Oh my goodness, what could that be? Well, let's go back and do a song that I'll tell you what. 216 Big. There's a surprise for the guys even.
Okay.
Here's a song that goes back. I think Dad was about my age when he sang this for the very first time. It's very typical of the style of the band. About 1938, a little goodie called Summer Souvenirs.
Summer Souvenirs.
That I know you don't know. I'm not even going to ask you about that.
Okay.
But let's see if I do.
And then go right into your theme song.
Yeah.
Jack, I want to say it's been great having you on the show, believe me.
Thank you.
And,
1, 2, 3.
precious summer souvenir. Trinkets that we won on boardwalk games, tin types that were done in painted frames. They all speak of you, my precious summer souvenir. I still have banners from a boat we boarded when we sailed across the bay. Songs your favorite bands recorded, I have hoarded away. The leaves are on the ground, they'll soon be frost. Someone else has found the love I lost. Still I'm clinging to my precious summer souvenir.
Okay, 2 hours, Jack Morgan, Russ Morgan Orchestra, 2 beautiful hours, unforgettable hours of music in the Morgan. And I want to thank Jack Morgan for bringing the Russ Morgan Band down with him this afternoon to Studio B. And don't forget tonight we'll be at the world-famous Hollywood Palladium. Don't miss that. Okay, and technical assistance for this outing by John Roseline, Steve Barker, Dave Garten, Greg Brown, and Paul Duff. I'd like to point out that all musicians and entertainers who appear on Live Big Band 79 do so on their own for promotional purposes and to support live music and radio and to the American Federation of Musicians. Live Big Band 79 is produced and hosted by yours truly, Fred Woodruff. And gang, we'll see you again next week with more of Live Big Band 79.
Good afternoon. It's 5 o'clock now at KLON in Long Beach, and time for All Things Considered from National Public Radio in Washington.
Good evening.